Species interaction. It refers to direct and indirect interrelationship or association between different organisms within an ecosystem, where the survival, reproduction, and behavior of one species influence another. These interactions are crucial for maintaining ecological balance and can vary based on how they affect the species involved. They shape food webs, population dynamics, and evolutionary processes. Ecological succession. It refers to the process by which the mix of species and habitat in an area changes over time. This process occurs in a somewhat predictable manner as ecosystems develop from simpler to more complex forms, ultimately stabilizing into a mature community often called the climax community. Population control. It is the practice artificially maintaining the size of any population to prevent overpopulation or underpopulation. It is applied to ensure ecological balance, resource availability, and species sustainability. Population control can occur in human, animal, and plant populations, often involving interventions to limit or promote population growth. How do species interact? 5 types of species interaction, namely competition, predation, parasitism, mutualism, and commensalism. Symbiosis characterized by parasitism with mutualism, commensalism. Its affect the resource use and population sizes of the species in an ecosystem. Competition. It occurs when members of one or more species interact to use the same limited resources, such as food, water, light, and space. 2 types of competition. Intraspecific refers to competition between individuals of the same species for limited resources, such as food, water, space, or mates. Since members of the same species have similar needs, they often compete more directly compared to interspecific competition. Interspecific competition refers to competition between individuals or populations of different species that rely on similar resources in an ecosystem, such as food, water, shelter, or space. This type of competition can impact population dynamics, species distribution, and ecosystem structure. Competitive exclusion is a principle in ecology stating that 2 species competing for the same limited resources cannot coexist indefinitely. Eventually, one species will outcompete the other, leading to either the extinction or migration of the least competitive species. Interspecific competition occurs when 2 different species compete for a limited resource. Intraspecific competition when members of the same species compete for a limited resource.
Competition and community structure. Resource partitioning. Resource partitioning is a process in which species that compete for the same resources evolve to use those resources in different ways or at different times, reducing direct competition. This can involve dividing a habitat into distinct niches where each species can thrive. For example, birds that eat insects might specialize for foraging in different parts of the same tree or hunt at different times of day. Resource partitioning allows species with similar needs to coexist in the same ecosystem by minimizing overlap in resource use. And the second one is predation. Predation is a biological interaction where one organism, the predator, hunts, kills, and consumes another organism. This relationship is crucial for maintaining ecological balance as it helps prey population and shapes natural selection by driving evolutionary adaptations in both predators and prey. Adaptation for predators. Predators have evolved various adaptations to enhance their hunting abilities, including physical traits like sharp teeth, claws, speed, and camouflage. Sensory enhancements like keen eyesight, smell, and hearing. Behavioral tactics like ambushes and pack hunting, and chemical adaptation such as venom. These traits help predators capture prey more efficiently and increase their chances of survival. And the third one is adaptation for prey. Prey species have developed various adaptations to avoid predators, including camouflage, mimicry, speed, defensive structure like spines, warning signals, group behaviors, and chemical defenses, and alarm calls. These traits help prey escape, avoid detection, or deter predators.
Type of symbiosis. Symbiosis is an intimate relationship between different species in which at least one species depend upon the relationship to survive. So there are three types of symbiosis: parasitism, mutualism, commensalism. So what is parasitism? One partner benefit from the relationship, the other partner is harmed. So mutualism, both partners benefit from the relationship. So commensalism, the partner benefit from the relationship, the other party is not affected. So parasitism, one organism is harmed, the host, while the other organism benefits from the parasite. Usually does not result in death. So there are two types of parasitism. So ectoparasites, endoparasites. Ectoparasites live on the surface of their host, whether in skin, fur, feather, or even the scale of the fish. So what is endoparasite? Endoparasite live within the internal organs, tissues, or bodily fluid of their host. This could be in the intestine, blood, lungs, or even the brain. Mutualism, a relationship where both species benefit. Think of a bee and the flower. Bee gets nectar, which is its food, while the flowers get pollinated, which help it reproduce. Commensalism, a relationship where one species benefit and the other is neither harmed nor held. Consider a bird building it a nest in a tree. The bird get a safe place to live while the tree is not affected.
How do communities and ecosystems respond to changed environmental conditions? The series compositions of a community or ecosystems can change in response to changed environmental conditions through a process called ecological successions. So what is the ecological successions? The process by which an ecological community undergoes change following a disturbance or the initial colonizations of a new habitat. So, ecological successions. There are two types of ecological successions: the primary successions and secondary successions. So, first we define primary successions. Primary successions define establish of a ecosystem and inhabited environmental ecosystems undergoes a series of change. For example, volcanic lava create a land because of the volcanic eruptions. Lava cooled and hardened into rocks. And let's move on to the secondary successions. Secondary successions change that take place after the disturbance occur in an established ecosystem. For example, forest fire, floods, tsunami, and volcanic eruptions. That is an example of a secondary successions. Let's move on to the pioneer species. A pioneer species, the first species to colonize a new habitat. So, the species in the first colonized habitats created by disturbance. What adaptations should such species have? Tend to be small, fast-growing, and fast reproducing. Good at dispersing seeds.
Ecological succession is the process by which ecosystems change and develop over time. This involves species colonizing an area, alternating the environment, and being praised by other species. Example: after a volcanic eruption, lava covers an area and kills all vegetation. Over time, dishes and mosses grow on the hardened lava, eventually leading to grasses, shrubs, and trees. This gradual process of development is an example of ecological succession. Primary succession occurs in areas where there is no soil or previous life, such as after a volcanic eruption or a glacier retreat. The area starts from bare rock or barren land. Example: after a glacier retreats, it leaves behind exposed rock. In this lifeless environment, higher species like fishes and mosses starts growing on the rock. They break down the rock and contribute to soil formation. As soil develops, other plants like grasses and small shrubs begin to grow, followed by trees, leading to a mature forest ecosystems. Natural ecological restoration refers to the natural recovery of an ecosystem after it has been disturbed without human intervention. Example: a forest is destroyed by a wildlife. Over time, without human interference, the forest begins to regenerate. Seeds from surviving plants are carried by winds or animals start to sprout. Grasses and shrubs appear, followed by young trees. Eventually, the ecosystem restores itself to a condition similar to its original states. Secondary succession occurs when an existing community has been cleared by a disturbance like agriculture, but the soil has been left intact. Well-defined stages like annual grasses or mustard dandelions, perennial grasses or shrubs, trees like dogwood, and deciduous forest. Example: after a forest is cleared for agriculture but later abandoned, grasses quickly colonize the abandoned fields, followed by shrubs and small trees. Over time, the area will regenerate into a forest. This is an example of secondary succession as the ecosystem rebuilds from the remains of a previous community.
The complexity of succession. Climax community. The final stage of succession. Populations of plants and animals remain stable and exist in balance with each other and their environment. What is climax succession? It is a concept in ecology that describes the final stage of ecological succession, where a stable and mature ecosystem reaches a point of balance with the environment. This stage is characterized by a diverse community of plants and animals, which remains relatively unchangeable until a significant environmental disruption occurs.
Let us proceed to population. When we are talking about population, it refers to a group of interbreeding individuals of the same species that live in a specific area. Next is population distribution. The word population distribution itself refers to the way individuals are spread out across a given area. Population distribution has many types. One of them is clumping. Clumping is a specific type of population distribution where individuals of a species cluster together in groups or patches. This can occur for several reasons. First, species cluster for resources. It is where individuals may gather in areas where food, water, or shelter are abundant. Next, protection. Protection from predators. By banding together, individuals can evade predators more effectively and enhance their survival. And the last one is ability to hunt in packs. case of predatory species, clumping can facilitate cooperative hunting strategies, allowing groups to take down larger prey or increase their success rates. Population can grow, shrink, or remain stable. Population size governed by death, birth, immigration, emigration. Let's proceed to population change. The equation of population change can express as follows. Population change equals birth plus immigration minus death plus emigration. This equation shows how the size of population fluctuates over time based on the balance between the number of individuals added to the population or through births and immigration and the number of living through deaths and emigration. Age structure. It refers to the distribution of individuals among various groups within a population. Age structure can be categorized into several groups. First, pre-reproductive age. Second, reproductive age. And third, post-reproductive age. Factors can limit population size. There are three factors can limit population size. First, range of tolerance. The range of tolerance refers to the range of environmental conditions, or both biotic and abiotic, that a particular species can withstand while maintaining the ability to survive and reproduce. Second, limiting factors principle. The limiting factor principle states the growth, reproduction, and survival of a population can be restricted by the scarcity or excess of certain resources, or even if all other needed resources are abundant. And the last factor can limit population is population density. It's the number of individuals in a given area, or a measure of the number of individuals of a species living within a specific unit of area.
No population can grow indefinitely. G curve and S curve. No population can grow indefinitely due to limited resources and environmental carrying capacity. The G curve and S curve models illustrate two different growth patterns that population can exhibit. G curve represents exponential growth, where a population increases rapidly at a constant rate. This occurs when resources are abundant and there are few limiting factors. So, example, a new introduced species into suitable environment may experience a G-curve growth pattern initially. S-curve. The S-curve, also known as logistic growth curve, represent a more realistic growth pattern. It starts with a period of exponential growth similar to G-curve, but then levels off as an population approach the carrying capacity as the environmental.
Survivorship curves. A survivorship curve is one way to represent a structure of a population. There are three generalized types of a survivorship curves. These are net loss, early loss, and constant loss. Natures of population control. Wildlife contraception is used to regulate populations of animals in the wild and hence reproduction. And preventing reproduction first to control population. Methods such as lethal trapping, live trapping, egg growth site manipulation, live immunization shooting, and chemical sterilization are used to maintain populations. There are three big ideas in certain interactions among species. The first one, effective use of resources and their population site. The second one, change in environmental condition, case communities and ecosystem to gradually alter the species composition and population site. Logically, precision. And the last one, there are always limits to population growth in nature.